Hi, welcome to the Northwest Surrogacy Center Meet a Surrogate webinar. My name is Carla and I'm a case manager here.
Hi, my name is Amy and I am a surrogacy coordinator here.
We're so excited to be here in our new Seattle office. As of January 1st, 2019, Washington State has legalized compensated surrogacy. So we've been hearing from a lot of Washington women, and we are already meeting them here in the office and screening them so they can be surrogates with our program soon.
Great. In addition to Washington, we also work with women in Oregon and California, Colorado. We have offices in all of those locations so that we can meet our wonderful surrogates as well as meet with our intended parents. We are proud to work with LGBTQ families as well as straight families, not only nationally, but across the world.
Absolutely. And Washington women are joining a very strong program. Over 24 years old, Northwest Surrogacy Center is one of the most well-established agencies in the United States. And this year alone, we anticipate over 200 babies born through the help of our amazing surrogates. And in the office today, we've invited two of those women, Chelsie and Kristin. Chelsie just delivered a baby. Chelsie just delivered a baby a couple months ago for an international couple, and Kristin delivered a baby girl in 2016 for a local couple, and she's actually coming back for a second surrogacy and is in the process of being rematched. I'm her case manager. I'm so lucky.
No. Okay, well, we are going to turn the webinar over to Kristin and Chelsie, and they are going to share with us about their surrogacy journeys. And during their talk, feel free to type questions. We'll leave some time at the end for those questions to be answered. And after that, it'll kick back to us and we will answer a few last general questions. So take it away, ladies.
Thank you, Kristin and Chelsie.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm Chelsie. I'm 26 years old. I live in Cottage Grove, Oregon, a really small town about 25 miles south of Eugene. Put that in perspective for you guys. I have a 6-year-old son. And for any of you guys watching, wondering if it works to do this process, working full-time, it does. I worked literally the day until I had the Surro baby. I worked that day, and then the next morning I went into labor. So just so you guys know, it really does work with a working lifestyle.
And hi, I'm Kristin. I am 33 until next week. I live in Redmond with my husband and our 2 daughters. They are 5 and 3. And I also worked up until I was about 4 months along, and Northwest kind of helped me transition into being a stay-at-home mom.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Chelsie, tell us about why you wanted to be a surrogate.
Yeah, so along with wanting to do it, I did a lot of research. I researched for about 6 months to figure out if this was really gonna work with my lifestyle, because I am a single parent. Once that 6 months was over with and I realized this was something I wanted to do, the other factors that came into play were I have a lot of friends who are having issues becoming pregnant, fertility issues. So they kind of pushed me to do this, along with I have quite a few friends who are in some same-sex relationships, and I know for them they don't have very many opportunities to be parents. Along with for those who can have the opportunity, they're going to have to do some type of fertility treatment to have a baby of their own. Right. So those are the main factors. Mm-hmm. What about for you?
For me, it's always been a 3-pronged answer to that question. First off, I have easy pregnancies. I enjoy being pregnant. I'm one of those women that just likes it. And on top of that, I love being a parent also. And I can't imagine wanting that so bad and not being able to achieve it on my own. So being able to help a family in that way was huge for me. The third part of that question is the finances. I mean, that Northwest, it's kind of a taboo subject in the surrogacy world, how much you get paid to do this. But it is a factor for me. Definitely. It can't be the driver, but it helped our family out a lot. So what did your family think about this?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a factor. Like you said, it shouldn't be a driving factor. If it is, that's great. It definitely helps. For my family in particular, there's nothing we've used, but it's been a great savings. I think that's a great option. You never know what can happen, and I think having a savings is really important. So that's what I've used it for mainly. What about for you?
Like I mentioned, it helped our family out. I was able to pay off my student loans and
awesome.
And get our debt down to where we didn't have to have the monthly income that we needed before. So I was able to transition to being stay at home.
Nice.
Yeah, but my husband he thought I was crazy when I first came up with this whole idea. I was still pregnant with my second daughter, and I think he thought the hormones were driving this choice. But once he kind of once I kept mentioning it, you know,
He knew it was real.
every day, he kind of had to wrap his brain around it. My family was maybe not as supportive at first. They've come around, but it was, for us, we're Catholic, so it was one of those things religiously that my parents were a little, they're a little hesitant at first. My mother came with me to the match meeting and met the family, and I think then is when it became more human and less abstract, and she saw this couple and fell in love with them just like I did.
Yeah. No, having that human factor is a big deal, because you put yourself in those shoes and you just want to help someone have a baby. Yeah. So for me, I didn't have to include too many people in my decision. Being a single mom, that's where the research came into play, just to make sure that this would work with a lifestyle, since I didn't have a spouse at the beginning of this process. So I pretty much had a interview set up with Northwest before I even really told anybody. But that I knew that my family would be really open to it. So I didn't really feel the need to have any approval or anything. Of course, there were people along the way that thought it was odd, but now that my journey is complete, I have so many women reaching out to me that want to figure out this whole process, because they're saying it's not that odd. Like, it's a great thing to do. And when it comes to, you know, the money part of it, it can really help. It's like we discussed before, we're helping a family and a family's helping us. So it's a win-win for each party. So, yeah.
Yeah. And the rest of the screening process, so you mentioned going and doing the interview. What was the rest of the screening process for you?
Yeah, so kind of seems like a blur now. So going to the interview, and then starting the medical records, passing all those. So it's definitely not a fast process. You've got to do due diligence when you're doing this type of stuff. It's very serious. So, and then it was the medical records. Once those are passed, then I believe you do your psychological exams. That went really well. And then once all those are passed, pretty much meeting.
There's the home visit also.
Oh yeah, I had my parents picked up before the home visit, but yeah, there's tons of steps.
Yeah, comes into your home and make sure you're in a safe environment and that you're being supported in the whole process.
And along with when you first reach out to Northwest to do it, they're going to do a background check on you and your spouse for that too, make sure everyone's safe. So.
Yep, and then you said right into the matchmaking phase after that.
Meeting,
so, getting a profile from a family and seeing if they're a good choice for you. Northwest does all of that selection, so that you can take a look at a profile and decide if they're a right fit for you and your family.
And it happened your first match, right? Yes, your first profile. Yeah, same here.
Perfect.
So it was nice.
Nice work, Northwest.
Yeah, good job.
Yes, and then so we met them, and it was a little bit of an interview with them, and
in person, correct?
In person, yes.
Yeah.
My husband was there via Skype. They want your partner, if you have one, to be a part of that process as well. But yeah, in person, and clicked right away.
Great. Yeah, mine, however, my couple is international. They're from Beijing, China, so definitely wasn't in person. It was over video. But it went really well. We pretty much, before the conversation had ended, we both parties agreed that this was the right match, and we're ready to go. And I remember Molly asking, anybody going on sunny beach vacations? I'm like, nope, let's get this going now. Because it's really nice that they ask, if you have anything in your life coming up, they will wait. But I was ready to go, and so were the intended parents. So yeah.
yeah, we kind of shared a knowing glance, but yeah,
Yeah.
after you leave the office, you're just asked to get in touch with your case manager and
Yeah.
let them know if you think it's a good match, and then
Yeah.
you move forward. Yes, into the rest of it, the contract phase, and then all the meds.
The meds.
Yes.
Let's start your journey first.
Okay, the meds. Well, it's the dreaded shot, right? The shots, but they're I think they were very intimidating at first, but you get used to them. I know I had my husband help me with the shots every day, and sometimes it didn't hurt at all.
Yeah,
and
no.
other times
And you
it was
don't
quite
dread
painful.
it as much.
Right.
You're just like, okay. Yeah, because for my first IVF transfer, it didn't work, so I had to do 2 phases of it. So I got really accustomed to IVF.
Mhm.
If there's any advice I can give to any of you guys, it would be to stay organized. Pinterest, for the most part, all of us Pinterest nowadays. Go on there. I used like a over-the-door shoe organizer to organize all of my medication. Like I said, it's just really important to stay organized. You've got to stay on top of a medication and make sure, you know, you do everything that it says on your calendar.
Mhm.
It's definitely a task, but just stay organized.
Yeah. I wasn't as organized as you were, but you have to make it a routine, right?
Yeah,
So
you can't forget.
lay it all out, get it ready, and then call the hubby.
Yeah. My mom helped me, thankfully. My first IVF, I did all the shots on my own. So that was hard, but it was nice on my second journey that my mom would help me, especially in the buttocks ones, because they go in your buttocks. And I would also heat. Yeah, in your tummy. Yeah. So you will get little bumps, and so I would massage and do heating pad.
Mm-hmm.
You said you would try that for your next journey, which we can talk about.
Yeah, so I had a great first experience with my IPs. As Carla mentioned, had a little surro babe, little girl, 2 years ago in May, and tried to do a sibling journey back in February. Unfortunately, we also had a failed transfer that time around, and unfortunately, it was the last embryo that they possessed. So it was the end of the road for them, but a new road for a new family that I'll get to help coming up soon.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Like Carla mentioned, I just had my baby 2 months ago. And, you know, I've become so close with the intended parents. There's, like I said, I think I mentioned they're a same-sex couple out of Beijing, China. I think, and that's been one of the most surprising things through my journey is how close we've become. So I think it was pretty much like 2 days after I had their child, they asked me to carry their second baby. So that might be an adventure I, take on in a couple of years, but for right now, I'm not quite yet. But hopefully that's something we'll get to experience, complete their family. That's kind of a cool thing to say that in my life, I've completed someone else's family. So
yeah. What was the pregnancy like for you? How was it different than carrying your own son?
Well, medication. You still have to do medication until I think it's about 15 weeks. It might be different for each surrogate, but for me, it was around 15 weeks that you had to continue with shots and other medication. Mm-hmm. So that was different. For the most part, it went really well. Like I said, I was able to work my whole pregnancy. I didn't have any difficulties. I did warn the IPs, though, that I had my son a month early. And so I was like, I really have a feeling I'll probably have this baby early. So we tried to plan it because, of course, they're from China. They missed the birth in person by 2 days. So that, however, they still got to watch. My mom was awesome. And to keep in contact, we used an app called WeChat. So, they have a video option in there. And my mom live videoed it, the whole thing, so it was really special. So like I said, your families really do combine during this. We wanted so badly for them to still be able to watch, even though they weren't in Oregon.
Sure. So, yeah.
How was your birth?
Oh, the birth was my favorite part. My family was in town for the birth. They are
Great.
actually early. They were thinking maybe she'd come early, and then she was 6 days late. So they were around for quite a while, and that was nice. So we got to spend some time before the baby came too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fast once it started. I think I was admitted in the hospital around 9 in the morning, and she was born at 11:52. So very quick. And you know, we're in there laboring, and they were in the room knitting and working on their devices. And my husband and I were just doing what we do, and had some good music playing. I like to tell this story about how I was obviously in labor there, and I mentioned before I'm Catholic. I guess it's on my medical record. So I had a lady come around. It was on a Sunday that I gave birth, and she offered me communion. And I think I may be the only woman who's ever given birth to someone else's child, taking communion and listening to Queen blaring on the speakers. So that was just kind of a funny thing that happened during the process. But once it was time to start pushing, it was almost like an out-of-body experience. They were there, ready to go skin to skin and cut the cord, and I was just there to watch as they became parents, and it was the most magical experience of.
No, it was
from having my own
special.
children. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I had to wait about another 24 hours for mine, but it was very special. We also my mom recorded that the first time him holding the baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very special. It's like surreal that it act for them. It's like, whoa, this happened, and we're like so happy to have made that happen for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very special.
Yeah, the whole room was in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know all the nurses wanted to come in and see when the first time he held it, because I mean, they've kind of been in the journey for the last 48 hours, so everyone kind of wants to see. And surrogacy just isn't that mainstream quite yet, so people are still so curious. But the more, I think we bring it to people's attention, it'll be more, I guess, more accepted a little bit more. So yeah.
Were you in touch with the parents the whole journey? Like how much did you connect with them, and how much were you in touch with them now?
Yeah, so we stayed in contact a lot. Like I said, it was mainly over an app called WeChat, whether it was video or mainly texting, because that's what people do. And even after I had the baby, we keep in contact almost every day, photos, and they asked me questions about parenting. I remember when the baby got his first diaper rash, the dad was like, what do I do? And he literally went to the store and bought every butt paste, and he was like, what one is best? And I was like, this one. And he's like, great. And like, so it's really fun to help them, because most of us have been first time parents, and so we know how like scary it is, and you want all that advice. So it's really nice to help them with that. So,
yeah.
What about for you?
I think we're a little more relaxed. We definitely emailed once a week. There's that email that you can subscribe to, Baby Center, and it takes the journey with you, and your baby's the size of a poppy seed to a pear.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
an app.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we would share that, and now I guess during the pregnancy too, they purchased the belly buds and recorded themselves reading children's stories, because we talked about how they hear, this baby's hearing my voice and my husband's voice and my kids' voices all day, but they wanted the baby to hear their voices too. So they had the belly buds, just put them in your maternity pants and turn on, and
that's really cool.
They hear Charlotte's Web.
That's awesome. I think if the dads knew about that, they probably would have done that.
Yeah, it was pretty special.
Yeah. Something special they did for me is I had a lot of kind of like back labor with this baby towards the end. And so they sent me a body pillow, the maternity thing. So I came home to that. I was trying to figure out who would have sent me this huge box. It was in my living room, and I finally open it, and it's pregnancy pillow, and it was really cool. And it's just like those simple gestures that they did. And it made it so much more special. It's nice to know that they care about how I'm feeling during this. And I think almost every parents, intended parents do. And they try their best to like really make sure we're comfortable during the whole process.
I got a lot of support also from Northwest throughout the process. They sent me, ginger chews for the heartburn and some coconut oil for my belly, and I got flowers after the delivery. So I felt very supported by them throughout the process too. If I ever had any questions, they'd answer them professionally but personally at the same time. Yeah.
No, it was great. It was really nice. Like she said, the flowers afterwards, and they send you like a gift package once the pregnancy's been confirmed. It's just like it's really nice to know people are like that excited as well as you are and the parents. So it's really nice. It's great.
Yeah. Let's see. We're gonna kick it out to you guys for some questions yet, or is there anything else you want to share, Chelsie?
I guess what's been like one of your biggest surprises while doing this, when you're doing your surrogacy process?
I think the timing, and that's a question you get a lot from other women that might be interested too, is, how long does this whole process take? I know shortly after I had my daughter, I had my interview with Northwest, and that was in October, and then it wasn't until the following August that I actually had the transfer. So that was a good 10 months of getting all the ducks in the row, all the medical records and the screening process and the matchmaking, and then all the drugs.
It's definitely not a fast process.
Yeah, it takes a while, and then 9 months to grow a baby too. So I think that's what I tell timing.
People, like about a 2-year process, usually a little bit shorter, but that's how I usually have told people.
Big surprises for you?
I think, as I said before, I didn't realize how close I would get with them. Like, I love them. Like, they are going to be forever family for me. And like I said, it's possible that I might complete their family by having a second child. But yeah, I guess I guess I'm just surprised that it grew into such a family loving environment. So I think that's great. And it's not just me, it's my family, all of that.
Yeah, we might go camping here this summer with our
cool.
Suro family. Yeah.
Very cool.
All right, so it looks like we have a couple of questions coming in.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
So let's see. How is it going through the pregnancy with your own young children? How did you tell them?
You can go first.
Okay. My children, when I was going through this process, like I said, my daughter wasn't even a year when I got pregnant. So they were so young. I tell a lot of families too, they don't know that this isn't something that people do, right? They're like, this is a normal thing. Mom's having a baby for some other people. So they're just so young and understanding too.
Yeah.
Because they don't know any different.
Yeah.
And they're excited about this next one now because they know the Suro baby and the family, and so they're comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's not as Dayton was older, so he was like 5 when I started the journey, and so I kind of had to explain it a little more to him because he's older, so he kind of understands that normally we would keep the baby. So I just pretty much told him, Mommy's having a baby for someone else, and that's what he told everybody. So I got questions like I remember he just started kindergarten. I remember the teacher, so you're having a baby but for someone else? And I was like, yeah, I'm a surrogate. And she's like, oh, that's awesome. So like he was awesome about it. I mean, I think being honest with your kids is probably the best way. Just tell them, I'm having a baby for someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my daughters came to the hospital too. And
Dayton did. Dayton held the baby.
Yeah. It's fun for them to see it.
Yeah.
Once it comes out.
Yeah.
See it on the outside.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, it was really cool.
Another question. How much time did you have to take off from work in order to make all the appointments they expect from you before the IVF transfer was complete? Okay. you take that one off, Chelsie.
So for me, gosh, it kind of seems like forever ago. I just pretty much, first of all, I was open and letting my work know this is a journey that I was participating in, and they were really accepting of it. And I just, I feel like I didn't have to take that much time off. You do need to take a couple days off, or if you can schedule your transfer date on a Friday and then have the weekend, if you have the weekend off, you do need to rest well for, you know, the medical place that I went to. They suggest that. But I didn't feel like it was that many days off.
I know, I'm trying to think back. I was working for a state agency at the time, so so I had plenty of paid time off.
PTO was available, yeah, so that's nice.
Yeah, and also being open with my employer, my boss, and letting her know what's going on, and then I would need time for appointments and trying to schedule those too for after work or before work. But it's definitely a juggle. It can be, to make it work.
Yeah, kind of like Kristin said, you try to make it work within your schedule. And like I said, I worked full time the whole journey and I made it work. Like it wasn't stressful and I felt like I could balance everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Another question here. Did you have a conversation with the intended parents about having twins? Yeah, it came up at the very beginning. My husband was more concerned about it than I was. He just knew that would limit me more, and there are, you know, some more complications if you do carry twins. So he took it off the table before I even really had a chance to weigh in. And yeah, so we just did a singleton.
Yeah, so mine actually. So I only wanted to have one baby, one singleton, one embryo transferred. However, when I got my intended parents profile, they wanted twins really badly. And I was like, I would love to be your surrogate, but you know, my only thing is like, we've got to only transfer one. And so and that was relayed on to them, and they came back and they were like, okay, yeah, totally. Because they wanted me to be their surrogate so bad. They totally were like, okay. And now that they have one, they're very happy that they only chose one, because we all know one baby is a lot, two babies is a lot. So if you do want to carry twins, awesome. But I think for both of us, we definitely just health reasons and everything else, one baby was plenty. Yeah. I couldn't imagine carrying two babies either. Me neither. So props to you mamas out there that have done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what is next? Let's see, did either one of you pump breast milk for the families? How did that work for all of you? I did not. We kind of agreed that I would try, and I did try. Pumping colostrum is miserable, and it just didn't go from the start. I think I maybe got 40 ounces total pumped, and in a weird way, I feel like my body was just saying, you don't have a baby.
Yeah.
So it just kind of shut down almost. So I did not. And they went through the process of finding a milk donor in their area, and that worked for them.
I, however, did. I just pretty much stopped pumping a little less than a month ago. So like I said, they are from Beijing. So they're here for a few months. They just left a couple weeks ago. So while they were still here doing all the documentation for baby and all of that, I was pumping. I produced a lot of milk. But then once it kind of hit that 1 month mark, my milk decided kind of went down. And it's kind of like Kristin said, your body's like, there's no baby there, like, because your body associates the crying and stuff to feed baby. So I think my body was kind of like, okay, I think we're done. So I just kind of slowly dropped off there, but they were very thankful. Like, they're totally understanding if it doesn't, you know, but they're very happy that, you know, he got a little bit of breast milk. So, but no breastfeeding, just exclusively pumping.
Yes, right, same.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, how did you keep yourself from becoming emotionally attached to the surrogate baby? How were the emotions different from having your own baby? I feel like for me, I mean, you go through this process for such a long period of time before you even get pregnant. You know it's not yours from the start. And I kept a distance, I think, in that way, still caring for the baby, being very careful about the baby and the pregnancy. But for me, I was more attached to the parents, to their experience, and loving on them and being excited about their
For them, yeah.
their parenthood.
Yeah, because that's how I explain it. Like, this baby's been waited for so long.
So long.
And you go into this process knowing it's not going to be yours. You know, you have to pass those psychological examinations. And I think, like I just said, this baby's been waited for. These parents want this baby so bad. And yeah, I guess mentally you just kind of know that, like, this isn't yours.
Yeah.
And as hopefully most of you know that are watching, this is gestational, so it's not your biological child.
Right.
You're not using
That's
your
okay.
egg. So I think that also helps. Like, it's not me. We're just growing the child for a couple.
For me also, I knew that we had 2 children. I didn't want to have any more babies too. So I just wanted the pregnancy out of it and the joy for somebody else.
Yeah.
We joked that, you know, it was like a little mini vacation, going to the hospital and watch cable TV and then go home and
No kids,
sleep
no
through the
your own
night.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for me, I actually, as strange as this is, I actually found my significant other during this journey, as weird as that is. So it's proof it can happen when you least expect it to. However, so my family isn't complete, and I still was able to have no problems being emotionally attached. And, you know, hopefully with finishing, you know, completing their family, I can, and within the next few years, complete my family as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's so fun to see all the pictures too.
Oh yeah, see him. Yeah, already. Yeah.
Watch them grow. How did you feel seeing the IPs hold their baby for the first time? And did you hold the baby? Like I mentioned before, it was almost like an out-of-body experience watching them become parents. I was doing the work, but with almost like in a theater watching them and the joy in their eyes when she came out. And my intended mother, she ripped her shirt off, just went for the skin to skin as soon as she came out, and they cut the cord, and it was not a dry eye in the house.
Oh, for sure.
And I kind of joke also that she, the intended mother, you know, they wanted her for so long.
Yeah.
She held her so close that I saw the intended father ask, can I hold the baby now? Can I hold? You know, she's so wanted. And it wasn't until the next day that I held her.
Yeah, so for me, it was different. The intended father was not there on time. So in our birth plan, because like I really knew I would have this baby early, we made sure that I just didn't want him to be taken care of by the nurses. It's like, even though he's not mine, I've grew him and I love him. And that's another thing. Like, it's okay to love these babies, you know, it's just not yours. And so I love him. So I took care of him that first night. But then I was definitely very excited when the dad came, because I was like, here, you can gladly take him. And he, of course, was so excited to take him. So, and my mom videotaped the holding. So yeah, of him holding him the first time. Aww. And his grandma came. So that was even more special to see like 3 generations. So yeah, it's really special. So.
And you were mentioning too, you had some really special bonding with the family, with the grandmother also being.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So the biological father is the one who came. Like I said, same-sex couple, and then his mother, the grandmother, came. And so something that I did, because I was dropping off breast milk usually every week. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to cook Chinese dumplings, and they were amazing. But Grandma was like, "You make dumpling," and so like I went right to work. She had me rolling the dough out, and I have videos of it too. And she made me put the filling in and pinch. Like, it was really awesome to like share those like customs and all that type of stuff. And they gifted me with beautiful Chinese stuff, like tea sets and the tea, and they were really awesome to like make sure like the Chinese culture was still incorporated into the whole thing. So yeah, it was really cool. Like I said, it's very family oriented with my intended parents. Like I said, I wasn't expecting that, but now that it happened, I was really thankful for it. So, yeah.
Experiences you won't forget.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we have our last question here. How long was your maternity leave after you had the surrogate baby? So I will just chime in and say I was a stay-at-home mom at that point, so so no maternity leave for me. But for you, Chelsie?
Yeah. So for me, I'm crazy. I mean, not in a good way. I gave myself 2 weeks I mean, my son was almost 6 years old at that time. And when you're not taking care of a baby, your body heals a lot faster. You're getting that sleep. So I just needed 2 weeks. My birth, but to add to that, my birth was fine. Like I just had a healthy vaginal birth, nothing traumatic. So that also comes into play with that. Yeah, I just needed 2 weeks and I went back to work. But like I said, I don't know the rules, but I definitely know you get longer time for that in general. But I just needed 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I had intended to take 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mentioned I was working for a state agency, so that's how much is allotted to you. And I don't think you should feel sorry for taking it. You're still going through the whole
you gave birth.
process.
Yeah.
We're not all crazy like you, Chelsea.
Yeah, and I will say that, like, if you decide to pump, it is a lot of work. It's literally like having the baby there. I had to wake up like 2 times during the night to pump because it was like, okay, we got to feed something. So it is a full-time job. So
yeah, so take the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening in and for joining us today. We're going to hand it back over to Carla and Amy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristin and Chelsie. We're going to answer just a few more questions here to wrap it up. And the first is, how will I be matched? Can I choose my intended family or surrogate? I think that Chelsie and Kristin touched on a lot of that in the matching process, but yes, you can. Basically, at the beginning of the process, we ask both intended parents and surrogates for their matching preferences. We want to know what kind of relationship you hope to have both during and after the surrogacy. We talk a lot about important questions like your feelings about termination, if you have location preferences, and all sorts of things. And based on all of those preferences that we know about, we will make a match suggestion, and the first step is to exchange profiles with all the parties. And if you like those profiles, the next step is to schedule a match meeting, and that is hosted by the case manager, and at that point the case manager will assist you through the remainder of the process. But a match meeting is a really great time to get to know each other more and make sure it is the right fit before you make a final decision. And we really try hard to make a great match for you because it does influence the quality of the experience for you.
Absolutely. Next question, what if the surrogate doesn't live close to the fertility clinic? That's a great question. Most surrogates don't live very close to the intended parent's fertility clinic. The intended parents work with fertility clinics across the nation. That being said, even if it's an international family, you will work with the fertility clinic in the United States. And the surrogate will know which fertility clinic the intended parents are working with before this journey starts. All of that being said, typically there are only 2 visits that the surrogate will take to the fertility clinic. The first being the basic medical screening evaluation, and the second being the actual embryo transfer. And after that, the surrogates can receive care local to them for most of the blood draws and the ultrasounds. Most all of the care can be done locally at that point. So
yeah, and then once you're released from the care, once the surrogates are released from the care of the fertility clinic, they will then start seeing their own OB doctor. It depends a lot on insurance, but that is also locally, and they'll deliver at the hospital that's close to them. Yeah. Let's see this is a hard question. How does surrogate health insurance work? This is a really challenging area of surrogacy because the U.S. health insurance system is so complicated. But each surrogate situation is unique, and so we need to look at that and assess it. And if needed, we will help the intended parents put a policy and a health insurance policy in place to help cover the surrogate's prenatal and delivery bills. And for a lot of surrogates, that means that she will obtain a new policy during open enrollment. But we'll look at what she has and we'll figure it out. And then medical care costs are paid through the trust account. So we try to take care of everything, but it's each case-by-case situation. So there's not one good answer for everyone. And I think that we're going to wrap up a little early today. So I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you've already been in touch with us and want more information, surrogates, please contact your surrogate coordinator, and intended families, please be in touch with Caitlin, our executive assistant, to ask more questions or take the next steps.
Yeah, and if you haven't spoken with us yet, please give us a call or go to our website, www.nwsc.org. and NWSurrogacyCenter.com. It's tongue twister. Fill out an intake form, yeah, or Google it, and poke around for some information. Don't hesitate to give us a call, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you again for spending some time with us.
Yeah, have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.